Welcome to the podcast, Stop Crying Poser, greatest podcast known to man, as voted by the entire Baker team. And there's one guy on there whose name is Andrew something, but I'm not sure who that is. Baker 3 only changed my life. If you don't know what joke I'm referring to, go watch last week's podcast. Who do we have in the chat? We have Chillin', Pete, J Cav, Day, Cam 702, and D Trick. We do this podcast every single Friday, right around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, right here on twitch.tv/Ninja Lifestyle. The time is 3:31 p.m., which means we are perfectly on time. I was thinking last night, because I couldn't sleep very well, I was thinking I better set my alarm for about 2 p.m. so I can get up and eat a snack and be ready for the podcast. But it reminded me that there was a stretch of time, maybe like 1 year ago or 2 years ago, where almost every single Friday I would show up to this podcast and I would be super hungover. In fact, there was a couple of podcasts where I'm supposed to start at 3:30 p.m. and instead we get started at like 5:30 because I get on Discord and I write to everybody and I say, I'm not going to make it. I feel like shit. I need another hour of sleep. And I was wondering why that happened so consistently. And then now, for this entire year, the year 2025, we've almost never been late. So I have a bad memory. I'm guessing maybe I had some friends where like Thursday was their day off or something, because I don't really remember. Thursday doesn't strike me as a day I would go out and get drunk. Then again, we've had some really crazy drinking nights on Twitch. So I wonder if maybe Wednesday's like hump day, go out, gamble $20. Thursday, okay, whatever, a couple more beers, then get out of hand, and then Friday I'm hungover. But then that would ruin my whole weekend. Why would I do that? Why did I put myself through that so many times in the past? I don't know. But I did stream on Wednesday, and we were drinking these White Claws, like the White Claw Extra. So instead of the White Claw being 4% alcohol, I got these White Claws that were 8% alcohol. And you drink 2 of those, that's like drinking a 211. And I ended up drinking 6 of them. And I'm sure you're thinking, 6 beers, no big deal. But they're 6, 8% beers. And I'm a small guy. So the next day, which would have been Thursday, I was feeling like shit. So maybe that's what saved me. Maybe that's why we no longer do the late podcasts. Speaking of streaming on Twitch, if you did not know, some of you may be watching this on YouTube. I stream on Twitch on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you want to see those fun activities, we've been drinking, breaking shit, playing Super Nintendo, gonna be playing Nintendo 64 soon. If USPS gets their shit together, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But it's a fun time. In fact, this week, one of the running themes we have is if the community accumulatively, bitch, you know the word I'm trying to say, accumulatively, if all of you together add up your money and donate a certain amount of money, we end up breaking a piece of furniture on stream. So T broke a piece of furniture earlier in the week, and it was a chair. One of those chairs that you would sit in outside, just like a, not quite a lawn chair, but made of plastic. And he was hitting with his baseball bat, and a piece of it flew off the chair, broke with the baseball bat, flew across the room, hit a shoebox, stuck into the shoebox like a knife, like a throwing knife into the base of a tree. And then no one noticed because there was so much chaos happening, and he's hitting this chair. By the way, this is all on my Instagram. And if you were here to watch it live, you were able to witness greatness. So anyways, the throwing knife lands in my shoebox of SXLs, and then the next piece, the next shard of shrapnel that flies through the air flies at me, cuts me under my arm, and then hits me in the mouth. And I did not actually get hurt, but you never know. You know, if you can see little shards of things flying all over the place that could hurt somebody, and you feel something smash you in the face, my first thought was, okay, let's make sure I'm not bleeding. It wasn't like, oh, I'm knocked out. But my first thought was, I don't want to get blood all over my white carpet again. So I ended up going to the bathroom. Everything was fine. No big deal. You know, I'm always pretty dramatic. But we got an incredible clip out of that situation. So if you guys are not watching me streaming live on Twitch, if you're only watching this on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, podcast app, iTunes, if you're only watching on that shit, I would advise you, if what I just said sounds fun, to check out the regular Twitch stream. It's usually a lot later at night. We're also coming back playing some Kaizo Super Mario World, some of the hardest Mario World levels ever made. And soon we'll be playing N64. We'll talk about that again a little bit later. How was my week? Well, not necessarily productive, but it wasn't terrible. I'll tell you guys this. I went skating. The video that came out today on Friday, I filmed that. On Wednesday, I went to a park down the street called Pro Park. It was 105 degrees. I showed up. I said, I'm going to do a roll-on grind. How hard could it be to do a roll-on grind? Well, you got to bring enough wax, because I was going to grind like 50 feet and couldn't bring enough wax. The only reason I wanted to roll on grind is because I did not want to ride a real skateboard. I wanted to bitch out. I didn't want to do anything that would actually be strenuous. So I did what current pro skaters do, and I became a bitch. And didn't bring enough wax. Couldn't get the grind going. Also, there's big cracks everywhere. So then I went to this wall ride section. I got 3 wall rides first try. I said, oh, maybe I can wall ride 180. So I'm sitting there trying it over and over and over again, blasting my knees out. My knees are in pain. My back was already in pain. That's why I didn't want to skate in the first place. It's so hot outside. I'm dying and contemplating my life and just thinking about all this horrible, toxic shit. Finally land one, sloppy as a dog's dick. And, it doesn't add motivation for like the next week. Then again, doing a shitty roll-on grind wouldn't have achieved much either, but definitely didn't feel like I achieved anything. I did manage to get a nice nollie back heel that actually popped off the ground and landed. So that was cool. You know, I got an Instagram clip out of it, but I hold myself to such a high standard that, of course, my first thought in this process is, I failed. You know, I failed, and now I've given, like, the internet trolls some fucking ammo. And now they can say, oh, you're too fucking old, you're too fat, you're too lame. Then again, I did land every trick that I tried, right? I tried wall ride, I tried a Wally 180, I tried nollie back heel. I landed everything that I landed, you know, that I wanted to land perfectly, for the most part. But there's no sense of like accomplishment. That's what I'm really looking for. I filmed these videos so I can put them on YouTube, but winning against a skateboarding trick is a small sense of accomplishment. I feel like I didn't really get that. And of course I can blame the heat and fatigue. I didn't eat that day, didn't bring enough water. I didn't dress for a trick battle. Usually if I'm going to be in the sun, I'll wear the UV shirt, right? I wasn't dressed for 105 degrees. I was just wearing a white t-shirt and shorts. So, not ideal. Not ideal. And I'll tell you something kind of funny. And this is just the way that I think. Right when I got to the skate park, this kid had his t-shirt and his phone right on the roll-on grind. So I grabbed his t-shirt and his phone, and I moved them about 1 foot away onto a ledge. And the kid rolls up and he's like, looks at me, looks at his shit. And I'm like, hey, I moved your belongings. I'm going to try and skate right here. So I moved his belongings and he's like, okay. And then he grabs them and he moves them to another part of the park. Maybe my thought process is maybe he thinks I'm going to steal his t-shirt and his cell phone. Or probably just the cell phone. So I move it over, and then he moves it to another part of the park. So I go for the roll-on grind. I realize I don't have enough wax. So then I skate another obstacle. And then he moves his phone, and then it's right next to his new phone placement. And then I'm skating the new obstacle, and I move the phone again. And then he comes over, he's like, you're just going to keep moving my shit? And I'm like, well, this time I moved it because I was going to skate on this obstacle. I couldn't skate that obstacle, didn't have enough wax. Now I'm skating this obstacle. So then he moves the phone one more time. Out of my way. And again, I'm thinking that he thinks I'm going to steal it. So then I swear to God, I land my trick and there's a dog running around the skate park. And the dog goes up to his phone and his shirt and starts to piss on it. So I grab it again and I move it. And then he finds me again, moving his shit. And I'm like, hey, a dog almost peed on your shit. And he's like, yeah, sure it did. I'll just hold on to this. And I'm like, no, I swear, I'm protecting your phone. If we would have left it in the first place, it would have got hit with my skateboard. If we would have left it in the second place, I would have had to step on it to get my roll up. And in the third place, it would have got pissed on. Dog piss on your phone that goes next to your fucking face. And he's like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, no, I swear. I'm not stealing your shit. I have fucking 3 cell phones. I don't need your shit. Anyways, I will tell you this though. That whole day skating, it was just me and that kid. Not another human being came to the skate park. And he was a kid, I've seen him in other parks, and he skated the whole time. And some of you are probably thinking, oh, you went to the skate park and you skateboarded the whole time. Well, that sounds normal. That sounds normal? You haven't been to a skate park lately. It's maybe between 3 and 5% of the people at the skate park are skateboarding. The other 95% are playing on their cell phone or chatting or staring off into space, doing nothing. And those are the guys that'll be like, yeah, I never learned any tricks, but I was having fun. No, you weren't even, what do you mean? You weren't even skateboarding. You owned a skateboard and you sat next to it. Like, it's like Ed, and Eddie, that's just plank, all right? You're not a skateboarder. You can't even do the most basic of tricks. Most people who talk shit, this is great too. Most people who talk shit when it comes to skateboarding online never even learned how to skate switch. I talk about this all the time. It's not necessarily like a line you must cross for your opinion to be valid, but it means you are slightly more into this fringe subculture. You're slightly more into it than the posers because you've put yourself to the test, right? It's like getting a little certification, right? You can cook at home, but you don't have your cards to where you can cook professionally. You might still call yourself a chef, but no one would ever hire you or take you seriously if you don't even have like food handling certifications. You don't even know like that you need to wash your hands, right? That's the difference between someone who sucks at this and someone who is a little bit past the level of casual. The problem is that the skaters with the lowest skill level have the biggest opinions. Just like the example from last week, the kid that said, Baker 3 changed my life, but I have no idea who Andrew Reynolds is. Yeah, no shit. Not surprising to me. Also, little known fact, that person cannot switch kickflip. Is that a coincidence? No, it's always like that. Anyways, I got off topic here. The kid was skating the whole time, and he was just practicing his ollies. That was it. And I loved it. I love the idea that you see a kid that's not afraid to grind and just go out there. No friends to help them. They don't need their buddy there. They don't need a camera crew. I reposted a clip this week. You would have think that I praised Hitler the way that the comments turned on me. It was a video from Woodward where these kids' parents pay $2,000 so that their kid can go to Pennsylvania and skateboard for 5 days. And it's very expensive, kind of like exclusive, right? Most people's parents can't afford to spend $2,000 to send your kid away for 5 days just so your kid can eat hot dogs and hamburgers for 5 days and skateboard at $1 million skate park when they can't even ollie. So anyways, the video that I commented on was a kid trying to learn how to ollie up something that's 3 inches tall. And it was a kid who you could tell has never really ridden a skateboard. His parents just wanted to get rid of him. And everyone around him is cheering, "You got it, man. You got this ollie." And he fails it because he doesn't know how to ollie. He barely knows how to push on the skateboard. Everyone's cheering, "Yes, you got it. You got it. Yay. Yay." And then eventually he like fumbles up the curb, and then his buddies pick him up and carry him over the curb so it kind of feels like he ollied, but he didn't actually leave the ground. Also, the amount of effort it takes to learn this trick, it's equivalent to spending 2 hours. 2 hours, you would have learned this. So you spent $2,000 to go to skateboarding camp, but you didn't bother spending 2 hours riding the skateboard. That's already a little bit weird to me. So everyone's cheering, and it's very positive, right? No one's making fun of the kid. Everyone's like, "Yeah, you got it." I would almost call it toxic positivity, because they've essentially given this kid a participation medal for being bad at skating. He still to this day cannot do an ollie, but they're celebrating his ollie. They're celebrating his failure as if he won. And that's going to be what happens moving forward. This kid, I'm very happy that you had a fun time at camp. I'm really happy that everyone had positive vibes, but let's not ignore the fact that you will never kickflip. You will never in your life land a kickflip because they've babied you. They had to baby you through the ollie. That's 2 hours of work, and that was too much for you. It would be like applying for a fast food job and not knowing what a hamburger was. And being like, "You're hired." And then you show up and you're like, "Well, I'm not prepared for this. I've never even heard of a hamburger." And you're like, "What do you mean? You went to hamburger camp for $2,000. And now we've hired you to make hamburgers. You've never even heard of one or seen one?" And he'd be like, well, at hamburger camp, they just lifted me up and carried me to my destination. I didn't know I actually had to know anything or do anything or actually sweat to achieve anything." And then, of course, that person would quit on their first day, which is why this kid will never, ever kickflip. And some of you would say, "Well, who cares?" Well, no one cares, I guess. The issue is I took the video and I reposted it and I put a picture of an emoji with their mouth zipped shut, which basically means I'm not going to say anything about this. That was it. Just a subtle kind of joking, kind of like basically what I meant was I'm not going to make fun of this. I'm not going to call anyone out for faking their skateboarding skills. I'm not going to call out rewarding mediocrity. I'm not going to call out toxic positivity. I'm not going to call out participation award. I'm not going to use any of those buzzwords. I'm going to zip my mouth shut and just show the world what's happening at skate camp. And the DMs I got back, oh my God. People read into that so much that that you would think I just wished death upon someone. So, long story short, the skateboarding industry could not be softer. Oh yeah, speaking of softness, I got called racist the other day for mentioning the word trap music in a YouTube comment. I said, in my commentary, I said, "I wonder if he's skating to trap music." I had a comment that said, "You don't know how racist that is?" How racist what? It's a high action video part. And it's in a video with Nija, who's historically only skated to trap music for the past 10 years. It's a logical way to look at a video. And the comment goes, "Well, when you said that, the guy on the screen was black." I said, that's you bringing, that you brought race into it. That's you being racist. That you heard trap music and said, "Is there anyone black nearby?" Beep 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 beep. Your black radar went off, and you're like, "It must be racist." Or we could be a little logical about it and look at the context in which I said it. My God, that you guys could not be softer. No one could be softer. First off, if any of you guys think that me mentioning trap music in a Niger video is racist, I'm going to say it now. You need more black friends. Okay? You need to consult with the experts because no one actually feels like that. There's no one in the... You guys can't be offended for everyone else when no one else is offended. You can't make yourself the victim when there currently is no victim. I mean, you can try. You can go for it. But you're going to end up at Woodward getting carried across the finish line, praying for a fucking participation award. Like, relax. Anyway, skating was awful. Didn't achieve much. My legs are super sore. And I got heel bruise for the first time in a long time. And I thought to myself, like, obviously I used to get heel bruise a lot when I jumped off shit. Currently I don't jump off anything. It only took a 3-foot fall, a 3-foot drop for my heel to explode out of my shoe. And I got to thinking, there's a lot of insole companies that sell third-party insoles. And I thought to myself, why? Why aren't shoe companies selling shoes that protect your feet? Why do I need a third party to sell something that the shoe companies are falling short at? And you know what? I guess it might just be like an open market. Maybe it's something that people want. Maybe people just like to spend the money. Maybe it's like peace of mind. Now they know their heel won't get hurt. But if skateboarding is such a dangerous activity for your heels and feet, why aren't the biggest skate shoe brands spending more time and effort or working with the third-party insole companies to make their shoes safer? I don't know. It's not something I really have to worry about, but it was a thought that crossed my mind the other day. All right, final skateboarding topic. We've been talking skating for 23 minutes. If this is your first time watching my podcast, sometimes we'll go the whole podcast and never talk skating, but now we've done a whole 23 minutes on it. My question is, regarding the kid that skated the whole time. I was proud of him. I don't even know who he is, but he got out there grinding. He didn't need friends to help him. He went out there and said, I want to get better at ollies. No one's going to pick me up and help me. I'm going to go out there and grind by myself in the heat. And I guarantee you that kid landed some good ollies, and he's going to be better at skating than all of his friends that are just playing on their phones right now. So my question was, how do you make kids skate more? And my first thought was maybe like bees or ants. Everywhere where kids sit down at the skate park, we should put a wasp nest or bees or ants. Something physically that would make them get the fuck up and go skateboard around. Like wherever they sat down, ants would come bite them. And maybe that's a little bit cynical. But then I thought if every skate park had like a Wi-Fi disruptor, if every time you went to the skate park, your cell service was fucked up or like just really slowed down, like maybe you could make a phone call, but Instagram wouldn't work. That's the ticket. If we could get a cell phone blocker, and if you had to step like 5 feet out of the skate park to use your phone, but then you know what would happen? Skaters would start bringing their own chairs. I swear to God, this is like a stand-up joke, but this would actually happen. Skaters would travel with chairs so that they could be at the skate park, but without getting bit by ants. But also, worst case scenario, they would have to actually ride the skateboard. I pray that no one ever has to do that when they're at the skate park. So yeah, definitely bring the chairs. I guess what it comes down to is there's no possible way. Anyways, would you guys like to win a free Ninja Lifestyle sticker pack sent directly to you as long as you live in America? Because I used up all my international stamps on iBookBoy UK. Well, all you have to do is answer this trivia question correctly, and I think I've actually asked this question before. First one to answer is the winner. Who was the first person to kickflip El Toro? This historic feat is widely recognized as a significant moment in skateboarding history. El Toro. This happened, what year was that, do you think? 2001? Maybe? iBookBoy says, ooh, trivia. Oh, poo. Stars says Don Vito. Very close. A very close relative of Don Vito. How did three of you say Bam Margera? Chillin' Pete says 2006, Dave Baczynski. I can't believe it went Don Vito, Bam Margera, Bob Burnquist, Mike Maldonado, Kerry Getz. I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. Chillin' Pete, you are the winner. Send me a DM after the podcast and I will mail you your free prize. Now, last week I told you guys how excited I was to get my new parts for my Nintendo 64 controller so that I can play Mario 64 at the highest level, live on Twitch, speed running. Yeah, Don Vito was the stupidest fucking answer possible, so I tried to give you guys an equally stupid response by saying it was a very close relative of Don Vito. My controller part was supposed to be here on Monday, and I looked at the tracking and it said alert, out for delivery, but it said alert. What? Why alert? It said this will take an extra business day. So then the very next day, I check. It's been one business day. It says alert. Then I do it again. It says alert. It says alert. On the fifth day, it says alert. I call them. I say, hey, alert. We have an alert. You guys haven't returned what the fuck I bought to me? I should play you guys the voicemail. My phone's in the other room. This guy calls me back. He goes, so we scanned it in. We scanned it in to the post office and it was out for delivery and it didn't get delivered. And I'm like, yeah, so how do I get it? And the guy's like, we're going to have to find it. And I'm like, well, it's been 5 days. How do you do that? And he's like, I'll let you know. Wait, what? What are you going to actually do? Wait a minute. Are you going to look, or is there a place to look? Is there a protocol to take? He was just like, well, he's like, it's scanned, but I don't know. I don't know what happened after that. Wait a minute. So it's physically it landed there. We knew its last location. We know the last person that touched it, and then just I don't know. Luckily, it's only about $10 worth of parts. And the package is insured up to $100. But the guy was so chill. You know, sometimes if you call customer service, they do some crazy shit. Like, well, how can I assist you today, sir? Okay, let's get that figured out. I will have this problem solved in a jiffy. This won't take long at all. Can I get the last 4 digits of your whatever? And we're done. All right, your problem is solved. The money will be in your account in 3 seconds. Have a nice day. Is there anything I could have done to better service you today, sir? Would you mind filling out a survey, sir? This guy was like, yeah, I see it was scanned, and then, I don't know. I don't know. It just fucking vanished into thin air. I swear to God, I was looking at it. I saw your package, and then it said poof, and it was fucking gone. And I don't know what's gonna happen next. I'm new here. It's my third day. Third day working on the job, and of course, a package goes missing, and I don't know where to look for it. I saw the scan. I saw the scan, and then after that, it said, "Oh, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where you're going anymore." Like, bro, you need to give me some confidence that it's gonna be found. Because there's a princess out there that needs to be saved. And if your fuckhead ass can't deliver me the controller parts, she's gonna get raped and killed by a fucking turtle/dinosaur. Okay? Named Bowser. Do you want that on your conscience? I didn't think so. Go back there, move some fucking packages around. Go find it. So anyways, that guy should call me back in a few days, hopefully. But the controller is lost. The good news is I don't feel like I lost any money. But I was very excited to play Mario. Then again, maybe it'll turn up. Maybe it'll turn up. That's all I have as far as what's happened this week. Let me tell you guys what I've been watching on Netflix. Last night, I started the documentary series on Son of Sam, New York City serial killer. It's pretty interesting, and so far it's well done. I've watched one of the 3 episodes, so I'll probably finish that on Sunday. If you're into serial killer shit, it's exactly like every serial killer documentary. They dive deep into his childhood, so that's kind of cool. But other than that, if you like serial killing shit, I would recommend it so far. I started a series that came out a few years ago called Animal Kingdom. And it must have been on like free like satellite internet TV or antenna TV, free TV, because this show sucks balls. Basically, if you've seen the movie Point Break, where it's these guys where they rob banks and then they go surfing. That's basically what the movie is. They rob banks, they go surfing. When they run out of money, they rob another bank, then they go surfing. They run out of money, they rob. The TV show Animal Kingdom, they steal everything from every action movie from that time, and they stole the entire idea from Point Break. And it's cringy. Because at the beginning of every episode, it's like 4 guys that are bonding before they go and like rob a bank. Before every episode, it's them doing an action sport together. So one episode, they're all skateboarding together downhill. It's the cringiest skateboarding scene ever. It's like 4 guys like just weaving in and out of each other, rolling down a slightly slanted hill, and one of them gets lost. So then he has to commandeer like a motorcycle and skitches the motorcycle up the hill and around the bend, and then randomly meets up with his friends like miles away, and they meet and they re-meet, and it's like, where the heck have you been, man? Had to take a shortcut, Brody, if you know what I mean. It got rough back there, didn't it? Did you see all the oil and spikes in the road? No problem for me. I can ollie pretty high. It's just like, it's the worst fucking, like, it's what you would think, like, Hulk Hogan would sound like if he wrote a skateboarding movie. How you doing over there, brother? Oh, I'm just hanging loose on the board. Me too, man. You know what I say, 1 deck at a time, quarter mile when I skate. Me too, brother. I feel like the skateboard's in my blood. Me too. I would die for this piece of wood. All right, let's fuck dap and high five and let's go freaking roll down that hill. It's just cringy dialogue. Skaters don't talk like that. Skaters say, get the fuck out of my way. Anyways, that's episode 1. Episode 2, they're all surfing together. Episode 3, they're playing paintball. Like, that's an extreme sport. Bonding, playing paintball before a bank robbery. And then, of course, skydiving. They also do the skydiving. There's always one of those moments in the movie where they're like, I don't live by the rules. Hey, robbing a bank is against the rules. I stopped caring about rules the day my mom died. It's like, it's so cringy the way it's Clint Eastwood bullshit. Oh, anyways. Yeah, the whole thing is like just triple X. Oh man. So I do not recommend this show at all. You take all that and then you add in a little bit of drugs. And if you guys remember like the show like Orange County, or just every shitty like Baywatch, every shitty beach show mixed with Point Break, mixed with wrestling style dialogue. It's just awful. It's so awful. I do not recommend anyone watch it. In fact, after the podcast, we're going to look it up on Rotten Tomatoes. I need this to have like a 50. Anyways, that's all I have for today's podcast. The Twitch stream will continue, but the official podcast is over. Can I get a oh hell yeah from those of you who chose to tune in live? We do this podcast every single Friday, right around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, right here on twitch.tv/Ninja Lifestyle. Shout out to iBookBoy, JCav, Shane O'Neill, Anti-War Machine, and Stems, Cam, iBookBoy, Day. I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you tuned in late, don't worry, you can catch the repeat of these podcasts. They come out on Sunday on iTunes, on Podbean, on Spotify, podcast app, YouTube, anywhere where you can find a podcast, you can find the repeat of this one. I appreciate when you guys donate, subscribe, and send money, but no one did that today because you guys want me to be broke and hungry, but that's fine because I don't have a whole lot of money to give you guys either. All I do is give out free stickers every Friday. But here's the thing. If you want to support the podcast, it's easy. Just tell a friend. Tell a coworker. Tell somebody sitting next to you at the mall. Be like, hey, you like Point Break? You'd love this podcast. Stop Crying Poser. If it's your first time watching, we typically don't talk about skating that much, but it's been a very uneventful week this week. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys. Hope everyone has a great weekend. And as I always say, don't drink too much and don't drink too little. Rules? Yeah, I quit following rules when our president got shot on TV. So let's go surf.